couples. We have Sara and Ana, and I'm really excited to find out all about their relationship, how they met. I know there have been challenges in their lives and exciting times, so here they are talking to us about themselves. So I'd love to find out first just a little bit about your, like, who you are, your backgrounds. Yeah, before we talk about your relationship, it'd be great to find out a little bit about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Sara, and I was born, and grew up in East Texas, a little town called Tyler, Texas, and went off to school, played soccer in college, got my degree in finance, and went on to become a private banker. So that's currently, what I do during the day. And then, as a side project, a passion project, I've been working with Ana, the director, on a movie called Gloria In Te Domine. So I produced that and as well as acted in that movie.
The acting part was not part of the agreement, okay? That was just like...
I saw you because I remember we watched it, Juliet and I watched it, and I was like, wow, I look so much like her. Wow, they got an actress that looks so much like Sara. So anyway.
I got conned into it. I basically got conned into it, but yeah.
So I was born and raised in Matamoros, Mexico, south of the border with Texas. I got shipped over here when I was 17 and a half, and I've been working ever since. Then a very wealthy family from Dallas financed me to go to college, and that's how it got started about 10 years ago.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so at what point did you meet then?
You tell that story.
So about a year and a half ago, I was working at a restaurant, and Sara walked in with her family. And Sara wears these glasses that I refused for her to get a different pair because I love them. So my mom used to wear those exact same glasses when she was younger. And when she walked in, I was just like perplexed. Like I didn't know what to do because I hate dating. Like I've only been in like 3 relationships and I'm 32. I can't. But whenever I saw her, it was like time stopped and it just went downhill after that.
No,
it did. I'm just kidding.
No. And so then how did you find me?
Oh goodness. So I was hoping that she would pay, and she did, so I could find her name. So I looked her up.
I thought you meant you were hoping she would pay and not just run out without paying. But you
no, because I wanted to know her name.
No, yeah, because I was with my family.
She was with her family.
My family could have paid.
So I was like, okay, so she paid, and I looked her up on Facebook. So I went back and I called my 3 best friends, and I was like, I just met the person that I'm going to marry, and everybody's like, "Anna, shut up." And I'm like, no, seriously, because I've never said anything like this before. So I looked her up on Facebook. We had one mutual friend. But I had spoken to him the night before, and he was going to Colombia for 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh my God, he's gone. 3 weeks. 3 weeks go by, and I see our mutual friend walking down the street. So I chase after him, and we start talking, and I was like, please help me. Do you know her? He was like, yeah, but I'm really not friends with her. She's an acquaintance, work stuff. And I was like, I don't care what she does for a living. It is, we're talking about her. She walks in with her family again.
How
so
funny.
Normally I would be like, oh, hey, I was hiding. So then Sara will take it from there.
Well, from my perspective, I'm just going back to that same restaurant where Ana works because my family loved it. And so walking back up with my family, and I hear this guy holler my name, and I go up to him, and he's like, I want to introduce you to someone. And he's like looking around, he can't find this person he wants to introduce me to because Ana was hiding. And it was super awkward for me and my family. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna go sit down at the table. If you find her, bring her over and introduce her. And so we sat down, and a couple minutes later, he brings her over and introduces her.
Yeah, and then Sara's like, oh, clearly he does not know what I do for a living,
No.
She thought, I guess, like I was trying to like find investors for like the film, which I wasn't technically, but yeah.
And so then she emailed me, and we met up, and.
What did you do on your first date then?
Well, it wasn't a date. We emailed back and forth, and she tells me potentially we could meet on Wednesday, and I was like, sure. So we met on Wednesday, and we spent most of the day together. You went to a meeting, and then I came back, to meet with her. We just talked, and it was just like instant. I think she knew. I think I knew that same day. We just didn't know how to address it, you know, or just how to like go about it. There's like me, you know, who I had been single for like, I don't know, like 6 years. Yeah, 5 or 6 years, you know, and it was just like, I was like, what do I do? Like, how do I behave? How do I act? You know, like, I don't know. It was like, it wasn't even awkward. It just felt like we knew each other from like a long time. Yeah.
So what about, so Ana, with your other relationships, did you feel that same sense as well? Like, did you have challenges in your, did you have some really bad experiences in dating as well? Or did you generally have good ones?
You know, I don't have like any like bad feelings or animosity towards my exes, but honestly, like they were so long ago that, I mean, I don't even like think of like what I went through with them. You know, I knew clearly like going in that it was not something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I mean, one I dated when I was 19, another one I dated when I think I was 22, and then the other one when I was like 25. So there was always like years in between, you know. I was never like a serial dater. I didn't like that.
So how did you meet women before?
Well, Sara is the first gay person that I've ever dated. Everybody else was just like, the other three were just like 3 people that I was like interested in, and then we dated for a little bit, and then that was it.
How did you meet them? Just through friends or?
Yeah, just through friends.
Okay, cool. So Sara, so you went on this date. How did you feel about it?
I was nervous at first. Well, I didn't really know. So we didn't really label it as a date. I thought it was more talking about business and, you know, talking about her movie but then quickly after, you know, we started talking, I realized that it was not just a business meeting. And so, yeah, we had a really good time. I think we spent the whole night, like, you know, we went out and had some drinks and had a good time together.
Yeah.
Originally, she told me we can meet for 1 hour because she's very busy all the time. That 1 hour ended up like 11:30 at night, and I drove her home. Yeah.
That's great. And so, what was your experience with dating then before meeting Ana?
I'm more on the serial dating kind of side of it, I guess you would say. I don't know. I would always be in like long relationships, but kind of like one right after the other. I don't know. I guess I just met my past girlfriends just through mutual friends and, you know, kind of, just through other friend groups. So that's really how I met them.
So then you met again. So how did you then differentiate the next time that it wasn't a business meeting and it was actually a date?
How did we establish that?
We never did. We've never been like, I don't think we've ever established that we're like together.
It's always.
Do you want to do that now? Do you want to just check in with each other now? Are you good or?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much we're together, you know, but I don't think we've ever like established like anything, because it was just so natural. It was like very, very natural between her and I. I mean, her and I are complete like opposites. Like we are so different from one another that it's just like that whenever we got together, it was like, okay, I can be like my crazy self and she can be like put together, and like we had good, we communicate well, I think. That's what like.
Well, for me, so I'm more buttoned up and, you know, pretty organized, and she takes me out of my comfort zone, right? And so I've always been like, you know, following the rules and, you know, doing the things you're supposed to do. And Ana is just fun and, you know, is creative. And so she really took me out of my, you know, my safety zone, I guess, and made me get outside of my comfort zone and do different things like produce a movie. And, you know, I'm learning Spanish because I want to be closer to her and learn more about her culture. So I think that's kind of why we work so well, is because we've tried to take take part in each other's worlds and try to learn more about, you know, one another, and it works.
Yeah, it was like Sarah can put together like you know, like an Excel like chart. You know, I tell people like this because to me it's like foreign news. You know, it's like Sarah can do an analysis of anything when it comes to numbers, you know, like in 5 minutes, and she will tell you like everything that you need to know. And whenever I have to do something like that, you know, I just don't do it, and I will cry because that genuinely breaks me down because I'm like awful at it. But Sarah is just like so like quick, you know. But then again, it's like I come in, you know, to where like if I need to build something out of nothing, I can. With Sarah, it's most like, because she's like, you know, like the one that like follows the rules for everything. You know, you tell her ABC, and ABC is going to be perfect. With me, I'm going to be ABCD, you know, like, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to like stumble, but I will get it done, you know? So I think that's where like we genuinely like mesh well.
Yeah. So what other qualities do you really like are amazing about one another?
Well, for me, I mean, I think Ana is just a very passionate person with everything she does. She does it with her full heart. She is a very loyal person to her family and to her friends. She is super creative, like I've mentioned. She took nothing and made a beautiful movie. And she's also very funny.
Yeah.
Or tries to be very funny. So no, she's funny. So that's
I am pretty funny.
yeah.
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 And I'm like the safe one. Like if we were to like go out, like Sarah never has to worry like about anything, because like I'm always like aware like of like what's going on.
She's like the protector.
Yeah. My mom was a federal agent her entire life. So I was always very like, you know, I got trained in martial arts and like all that stuff. So I'm always like ready, you know, like aware of my surroundings.
Yeah.
And Sarah's more like girly, you know, like, oh, I mean, not like, oh, I broke my nail, but, but you know, like just more like a girl.
And what about some of Sarah's qualities?
Ooh. Sarah,
How long do you have? No, I'm kidding.
no, honestly, like, I think it's like the admiration that I have for what she does. Sarah's very accomplished, you know, for like being so young and like the position that she has at work. But I've always told her that I was never attracted to those things. That was just like a plus. Sarah's very loyal. She's very loving in her own way. You know, like we were talking the other day and I was telling her how like she shows me that she cares because she keeps like all like the pantry, like full of snacks and like beer and stuff that I like, you know, because I'm like scattered all day long, you know? So it's like whenever I come back, you know, there's always like something that it's like good for me. And that's just like Sarah's way of like showing me like how she cares. She's super beautiful, of course, you know, it was just but I think overall she has a very beautiful heart. We have the same foundation when it comes to family. I guess I would say religion as well, because I mean we follow like the same path. But I think overall it was just like her heart, like it just like blended in very well with mine. And
Nice. So at what point, like, how did you know that he was the one?
very weird stuff started happening whenever Sarah and I met. So I believe in mystical stuff, you know, being a Latin American Mexican woman. We believe in stuff like that. And Sarah had asked me for a time, it was November of last year? Yeah, it was November of last year. And I went to my friend's restaurant and he was having a private event. And I was like, hey, do you mind if I just sit at the bar? He was like, sure. So this like older guy comes in from out of town. He tells me his entire life story. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm having like an awful day. You know, I don't want to listen to somebody, you know, normally I'm like the one that's always talking, you know, friendly, you know, I walk in and like I have 100 friends, but not tonight. You know, I was just like, okay. So he tells me his entire life story. He was traveling from Houston to Dallas. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I was like, hey, well, good night, I'm gonna get going. So getting up, grabbing my backpack, and he was like, hey, Ana, before you leave, I want to show you something. And I was like, sure, what is it? So he pulls out his phone. He was like, well, I was in Dallas a few months ago and I snapped this photo. So he snapped the photo and Sara was in the center of the picture. A random guy from this different city just like happened to snap a photo in Dallas and Sara was in the middle of the picture. I just started crying.
Yeah,
It was
amazing.
and I was like, okay, something's
Yeah.
So I messaged her and she was like, what did you say? Are you following me or what?
Well, I didn't believe her at first. So I was like, so I asked her to I was like, no way. And so she took a picture of the man's phone, which had my
audio
face on it. This random man from a different town. It's just really crazy. And then we had a lot of stuff like that happen. So I really think I think we believe in destiny. And so, yeah. So that's our next movie.
Yeah.
Is about.
That's why we cannot, like, that's why we're being cautious with what I tell you, because I cannot tell you everything, because otherwise I will spoil my next film.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. So what about your future together? What's happening now in terms of your relationship? Like,
Yeah.
living, animals, family, like what's your future?
Well, we pretty much live together. I just bought this home here and we basically live together right now. We do want to have kids.
And we have a friend. Okay,
Yeah,
so Sarah's coworker, which is a good friend of mine, she's kind of a witch.
We call her that to her
We
face.
call her, yeah, we call her, you are so witchy. I'm like, I love you, but I'm like, sometimes you're freaky. So she told Sara that we're going to have twins, girls. But I was very sad about it because we have an agreement. If we have boys, I get to name them. So I had names picked out.
But if we have girls, then I get to name them. So.
And they're going to, according to Sarah's coworker, like our mutual friend, she's going to have girls, so I'm like devastated because my name's out the door.
Let's see. So yeah, we definitely want to have kids and more movies, right?
Big family. I want a big family.
Yeah.
And marriage? Because you're not married yet, are you?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Are you getting married?
We will. That's in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we're like 40. No, I'm just kidding. No. No, I mean something that, I would like to. But I don't think we've like discussed it because we've been very busy this year with like movie making and everything. And I think we've put, I guess like.
Well, and for us, we have talked about it, but we just don't, I think we don't want to have like a big ceremony. I think for us, we would just do it in our own way with a small group of friends. And so it's not going to be a huge deal. Yeah.
So the people that sponsored my career, JB did say that if we get married, because I have never brought a girl around. So it was the first time that they were meeting, somebody that I was with, but he did say, he was like, I get to walk you down the aisle. And we're like, yes, of course. But we didn't even say anything. He just like brought it up. I guess like he knew, it was obvious to everybody that somehow her and I would end up together.
Yeah. So have you had any challenges in your relationship that you've had to deal with, any adversity?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Family or other people?
Yes, a lot of adversity. I know Anna's had a lot of losses with her family this past year, which is very unfortunate and hard for us. Mm-hmm. But also with the movie, Anna poured her entire soul and everything into this movie, and so it's been challenging just because I've had to kind of pick up the slack, I guess, or like, how do you explain it? I've had to.
Making this film just put me in a very, very bad financial situation. Despite the fact that I had a lot of like heartbreak in my family because a lot of stuff happened, a lot of like death happened. And like I lost my vehicle, like I was having like trouble, then like investors backed out and everything. So I'm having to work, but it's all going somewhere. And I've delivered a beautiful film, but Sarah's had to pick up the slack for the stuff that I cannot do. When prior to this, it's like, just like little things, we would go out and I would be like, it's okay, I got it, don't worry. It's like, I would like take care of dinner when right now I can't even do dinner, you know?
Yeah.
But just like the fact that whenever like Sara was in England, you know, it's like we got Best International Film, but I'm the only Latin American woman to ever win that award, you know? So it's like those like things like that you put, you know, it's like, we'll get there, you know? I mean, losing my car, oh my God, it was like, we won an award, 2 days later, I lose my car, and I'm like, wow, like, what do I do now? And I'm like, it's okay, just keep going, keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And honestly, like,
obviously, besides the financial side of it, how did you manage to work through that as a couple? Obviously communication, but you know, how was that for you working through that?
Yeah, I think it was just like communicating with each other and like talking through those things. And, you know, Anna would feel bad when we would go out and I would pay, but like I would tell her, like, don't feel bad. Like, this is all part of the process. Like, I don't mind paying. Like, you shouldn't feel guilty because because I'm paying for dinner right now. Like, I don't know, just kind of like talking through things. Like, she would assume that I didn't want, like, I was just paying, but I didn't really want to pay. And just kind of talking through that, right? And making sure she knew that I didn't care and it's not a big deal.
and honestly, like, okay, so we do like argue, but we've never had an argument when it comes to like something that we don't, how do I explain it? Like something that it's like, it's never been like something that you and I like lack as a couple. It's always been because of like third parties, you know, that get like involved, and then it's like, then we argue. But it has been rare when like you and I have actually like had a fight because of something that like you did or I did, you know, to like hurt one another.
Yeah.
It's a lot of communication, and
but we do argue.
Well, as long as there's some good makeup as well.
oh yes, there is. Yes.
Cool. So if you were going to give anybody any advice about, I guess, dating, relationships, what do you think it would be from your perspective?
Well, I like to do fun stuff. Sara doesn't.
That's your advice?
That's my advice. Do a lot of fun stuff and then convince the other one to do it with you. Just meet in the middle, you know? It's like everybody's different, but like when you genuinely care for somebody and you know that person's right for you, you're always gonna like find a way to meet it, like make it work. And I think that's one thing that Sara and I do well. Despite like all like the problems that we have like on the outside and like, you know, millions of things like coming in and out, like it's just, we always find a way.
Kind of learn about each other, even if like I hated movies before her. Like I never watched movies, and because I loved her and wanted to be closer to her, I joined in the project and actually fell in love with movies, and now we watch movies all the time.
And she was like, so what do you think? Did you like the lighting? Was it good? Was it better? You know, and I was like, now we have like another way of like to communicate, you know?
Yeah, and then just trying to learn her language. I think even though I'm not fluent, you know, at least I try.
My mom loves it. She loves the fact that Sara can speak Spanish. My mom is like, I just love it. She was like, hands down, my favorite. And I'm like, okay.
So as long as you're trying, I think that shows a lot and means a lot to the other person.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, would be.
And I try to be very clean around Sara, like super clean.
You're making me sound like
no, like really, like I try to be like, because I was not. I mean, no, I was never like dirty. I just not very organized, you know.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It's like, you know, still being self-expressed and creative, whilst, you know, taking on some of the stuff for Sara, what's important about is organization and cleanliness. And then with Sara, kind of getting outside of your comfort zone and doing something more creative, something a bit more fun, that you wouldn't ordinarily have done. So, you know, while still being you, which is great. That's what relationships are all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's like Sara, you know, like falling into my world. Like whenever like I started like having trouble, you know, Sara does like, she's great at emailing and like things like that, you know, like I'm awful at it, you know, I'm like, I hate it. So I always tell people, do you want to deal with me or would you rather deal with Sara? So they always like choose to deal with me, you know, because I'm gonna like scream and yell or whatever, you know, but then I'm gonna be like, it's okay, don't worry about it, you know. With Sara, She's going to be very calm, very subtle, but she's going to handle everything. You know, that's why she was the producer. You know, she was like the overall, like, she was running the show, you know, telling me time. And I'm over here like, I got nothing, you know? Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, look, fantastic. I mean, it's been great to find out more about your relationship and, you know, and I guess how it's mixed in with your work side as well. So, you know, just to finish off, tell us a little bit more about the film. You know, mention the title again, and we'll give some links. But yeah, tell us a little bit about why you made it, what it's about, and yeah, the future around it.
Okay, yeah. So the movie is called Gloria In Te Domine. It's a true story about Ana's life, immigrating from Mexico to the US, dealing with all the struggles that come with assimilating in a new country, coming out and being disowned by her family. So it paints a powerful portrait of a family that's unwilling to accept change. We shot here in Dallas, Texas in 17 days. And wrapped up, I guess, in August. We submitted to several different film festivals. We're still waiting on to hear back from a lot of them, but we recently received awards in Birmingham, UK for Best International Film, as well as in Austin for Best Feature Film and Best Female Actress.
Nice.
So I think, you know, I'll let you speak to why you started making movies and, you know, why this topic. But we really just wanted to be a voice in the LGBT community. I think people tackle discrimination in different ways, whether that's attending a Pride event or, you know, celebrating a global day of recognition for, you know, anti-bullying or, you know, International Day Against Homophobia. I think for me, this was our way of kind of, you know, responding to discrimination.
Yeah, well, going back to believing in destiny, I've always felt that filmmaking was a fundamental part of like the person that I am today. I've always believed that I did not choose to be a filmmaker. I believe it chose me, and I always found a way to be able to like just do whatever I wanted with it. I woke up at 4 in the morning one night. I called a friend of mine and I said, okay, I'm ready. So I had already graduated from film school 5 years prior, but I didn't start actively working on it until 2 years ago. That's how long it took me to get it off the ground. And then after that, it was just like, you know, I wanted to like show the world, you know, this is what we're made of, you know, not only as a Mexican woman, but just as a gay woman, you know. It's like, to me, it was like so natural being gay, even though like I left a completely different life back home, you know, and then like coming to America, it was like I was a different person. So I was very comfortable in my own skin. But now like putting it on this big screen, you know, it's like a way of like showing people we're just as normal as everybody, you know. It's like there is absolutely nothing wrong with this. Like we still work, we still pay bills, we drive the same way, we love the same way, we want the exact same things as everybody else, you know. It's like that's what it's like so crazy to us. It's like the minute that they see like Sara and I, it's like we honestly don't get like the bad looks because like Sara looks like, you know, like a girl, you know, like if sometimes I wear hats, but people think I'm just like lazy, you know. But it's like I cannot imagine to be sitting at a restaurant and then just having people like looking at you because you have short hair, you know. And we have plenty of friends who are just, you know, they're just a little bit more manly, you know. But it's like we all want the same things, just to be accepted. Yeah. That is it. So with this film, I think we're really pushing to show love.
I think it's amazing that you've put it's about your life. So it's really bare all because, you know, there's no kind of interpretation as to if it was someone else's life, then people can make, but this is you, your life, and, you know, challenges you've had and, you know, difficulties. I mean, I won't say too much about the film, but it was amazing to watch. And I'm really, it's really great that you put yourself out there. So I really commend you on that.
Yeah, I think you really let your pain become your inspiration. And
yeah, oh my God, yes.
Yeah, movie, yeah.
It's been a constant struggle for the past, you know, decade, but we're almost there, almost.
So you can follow us at Gloria ITD Movie on any of the social media outlets, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Brilliant, fantastic. Thanks so much, girls, for chatting, and look forward to seeing your next film at some point.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.